only wants you to make good beer and have fun hanging out with your friends. Here's Dono. It is the day after Thanksgiving, and I'm not really buying stuff, but I'm making stuff. I'm making the MacGyverest of MacGyver beers today. I have remaining 4 ounces of these miscellaneous grab bag hops that I got from my sister, who got from somebody who went to a homebrew con. I see they do have the alpha acid listed, so I guess that's helpful. And we'll talk about those in a sec. So those were free. This was also free. It is technically expired by 1 month, but I am going to give it the benefit of a doubt that it is fine. And if not, I have another one also. So that is the hops and the yeast, and then the malt. I had some remaining Ericlea pills on hand. So I'm doing 12 pounds of that, and I'll do all 4 ounces of the hops, most of them in the hop stand. So yeah, this is this one. I mean, we can go over this on the tasting notes. But yeah, I mean, they just, whatever. I mean, I'm sure they'll be fine for just throwing together this beer. What does this one say? I can't read it while looking at the camera. Medley of fruit flavors: mango, guava, lychee, citrus with slight sulfur and herbal notes. The sulfur is interesting. I hope that is on the slight side. But yeah, we're November, whatever. What is it? The day after Thanksgiving, 24th. And I'm going to do this one MacGyver batch, and then before the end of the year, I'll probably do a bigger batch, higher gravity, and then age that for a bit, and that is for a specific reason that I'll get into at a later time. But yeah, we'll see how this brew day goes. So for some bittering, I added 1/2 ounce, that's in the boil, of this one, 586, and then I have these 2 ounces of 008. And actually what I also am going to do is go see if these have more usable names now. But what I'm going to do is shut off the boil and probably do this 1/2 ounce remaining of 586 and 1 ounce of 008. Give it 15 minutes and then add the remaining final 2 ounces. It has been an hour, so turn off the fan, turn off the boil. So this is, like I said, 1.5 ounces. And the idea now is that I will get some bitterness, probably, out of this addition, because it's post-boil, and I'll give it 15 minutes. But then I'm hoping that since it is cooler now, it's about 40 in this garage, 20 something outside, I'm hoping that it will actually cool down to closer to 180 after 15 minutes, and then I'll add the other 2 ounces. So the garage is only 41, but when I took the temperature after 15 minutes, it was still 188. So I've been swirling it by gently picking up the wort chiller and doing a little whirlpool swirl, and I've given it 5 more minutes, and now it's down to about 182. So that's closer to 180. I don't know what the difference is as far as extracting the bitterness from 188 compared to 182. Soon to be hopefully more like 180 and below. But what the heck? I mean, these are 11% alpha acid, and they are a few years old, but they've been in the freezer. So, you know, the alpha acid will be deteriorated a little bit, but that's still like 4 ounces of 11% in a beer that's going to be like and the upper 1050s is a lot, so I don't want to make it overly bitter. But so anyway, I'll give it another probably like 15 minutes, and then we'll do the chill and pitch the dried yeast. It's gonna be about 1060, which is pretty good for my system, and 12 pounds of grain. I got just under the 5-gallon mark, but pretty much there. I am not gonna proof this or rehydrate. You certainly can. Might be best practice, but also you can just do it this way. So we're going to keep an eye on it, keep an eye on the start of fermentation, keep an eye on the temperature. Hopefully it will get going for too long. Yeah, well, this one, but we haven't really tried to figure out what the hops taste like. What's up, everybody? This has been quite a bit of a little ride with this beer. We are at
Dawn's house.
27th. Brewed on November 24th. Kegged on December 2nd. So right away, this beer had quite a nice, strong, pleasant, and unique hop aroma and flavor. But then, Chip and Dawson came over, after maybe it was in the keg for, I don't remember, but we could look, it was the day we did the India Pale Lager notes, and it had a strong, unpleasant aroma that I would best describe as a diacetyl type of a note. Buttery,
butterscotchy.
You know, but not a cooked corn thing.
I would say it wasn't your classic diacetyl, which is part of the problem of pinpointing what it is. Like,
so then it was no tasting notes that day, and I mean, I didn't want to think about like dumping the beer, but I'm like, I'm just gonna leave it. Dawson and I kept our glasses of it out. Chip couldn't handle it; it was too strong, and it was not great. But I was curious if it would off-gas the aroma, or if it got warmer, if it would get better. And it did get better as it warmed and as it got some of that aroma out of there. However, I kind of kept sampling it every few days, and I noticed that flavor getting less and less, and I noticed it getting clearer. It's still, I think when it has a little chill haze now, I think when it gets warmer, it gets clear, but it's clearer, which tells me that the yeast is going away. And I just have to wonder if anyone has used this. I think I maybe have it on video earlier in here. I didn't go back and check my clips, but that BRY something 97 West Coast.
When it first came out, Brian Adams was like, "This is gonna be my house yeast," just because it was BRY.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know.
We should say.
I don't know what's going on with.
Or you might have said it earlier in the video. It was at or beyond expired.
It was expired by about a month, I think.
I've also been led to believe, industry-wise or wide, like a lot of those are, you know, still able to be used. They just want to be safe. But dry yeast specifically have a huge, long shelf life.
People. So I went and looked that up to see if I was a fool for trying to use 1 month past expired date, and like maybe it was sitting out at room temp for some amount of time. I don't know. It's as opposed to being in a fridge. And some people will say like, oh, I use dried yeast at 2-3 years past expiration date, and I'm sure that would have been in a fridge. So anyway, this beer has come around. It is at least much more drinkable right now, but I'm not getting the strong hop aromas that I was from this 008 and then the HBC 586. Do you think you can get any hop aroma that you could describe or hop flavor?
Yeah, I mean, I still, like, on our way up the stair, I was like, I'm still getting a little of that weird flavor, but it's morphed into what I would consider, like, overripe, super juicy and squishy mango, or, I don't want to say banana because that sounds too much like a very specific flavor, but there's a funky, tropical fruit thing. Now that in the time you've been standing here talking, I'm like peaches and cream. I'm getting like
Wow.
peaches and cream, the stone fruit, and I think also that lingering butteriness, but at least now it's like somewhat evolved into like an impression of sweetness, an impression of vanilla, but without being like a dessert beer. These hops are also unknown to you, which means they're unknown to me.
Well, and they were old, but they were in the freezer the whole time, but they are probably a few years old.
So you should just call this an old ale.
It's a
blonde old ale.
Well, it's definitely a MacGyver beer. I had the pills on hand. I got the yeast free.
Yeah.
And the hops were given to me years ago. So
I just feel like I feel those New Zealand undertones. They're just not as bright and vibrant. And this other mysterious thing that happened just kind of like makes you wonder, like, what are the things? Is it the Pils malt? Is it the old yeast? Is it the combo of unknown hops?
Is the combination hops? So when I drink this beer now, I mostly get a piney note, like a bitterness, resiny piney note. I don't get these fresh fruit things, but when you look at these hops, so for example, the 008, it says grassy and subdued earth characteristics. It also says green apple, peach, mango, but then it says tropical fruit, earthy / woody, pine, pear, apple / pear, and grassy. So those are all some of the things you've been saying with the mango. I'm getting these pine, woody notes. The other hop, HBC 586, says mango, guava, lychee, citrus with slight sulfur and herbal notes. Now I don't think that could be from the weird badness we were getting.
I don't know, maybe. I don't know.
Because now
I have to ask, like, can sulfur come off as other things? Like, what if that was a sulfur mixed with a super fruit bomb hop? Kind of came out, because again, I never pinpointed it as just diacetyl. I was never, I mean, it's a freaking West Coast ale.
But then
which, granted, they did make a DKO strain for because it can kick off diacetyl, but that's usually when doing like dry hopping, which you did not do.
Right, and also I think of diacetyl as
questions.
something that's made when it's fermented cold, if it's a lager yeast, and then not reabsorbed when it gets warmed or when the fermentation completes.
But I guess the new thing is it can be made, well, that's what hop creep is. It's like,
okay,
on the warm side, diacetyl can come from a dry hop load going in after your yeast is too worn out to deal with the new enzyme. So it's,
I didn't do the dry hopping, but I mean, it's at least a beer that I can pour it into a glass and drink it and be like, okay,
I didn't dump this one, so
hey,
you're making progress.
22 years of home brewing, didn't get dumped. That's my.
No, I don't know.
You won't dump it.
I would love to hear if other people have had a similar experience with somewhat similar, what do you call them, parameters, like still an ale yeast, Pils malt, what's known to be kind of big fruity hops.
Now when I have had real diacetyl in a lager, it does not go away. And in fact, there's been times it's gotten worse. And a couple of times I've actually taken an extra set of steps and I've been able to get rid of it. But it's a whole other process. This is just, I just let it sit, and like after, I swear, like a week or less after we had that bad experience, it was like, oh, it's not
something
as much. And then now
that
it's like almost
curve is going to be what somebody uses to solve the case. Tasted good, then not so much, and then good again. Like there's something about
almost like a week of good,
being
a week of bad.
Maybe there was yeast in
week
there.
Of getting better.
Like God knows what it is, but like
I think the yeast has got to be a component of it because now it is clearer and better. So in my mind, there's that. But anyway, this is also just another like, can you throw a bunch of crap into a recipe and make a beer? And you know, as usual, you can
buy new yeast. Don't be like Don. I mean, kitchen sink is kitchen sink, etc., etc. But it's probably a good lesson to learn that if nothing else, like man, just a pack of 05.
I just didn't know why it was.
Pack of 97, new pack of 97.
The problem, it wasn't expired. It was basically almost not expired. So.
Yeah, and it's not a high gravity beer. It's not like you were sending the yeast into like.
It was 1060. It did get down to 1010, 6.7%. But anyway, that's that. A little extra content for you.
Last beer of 2023.
Before I do not have any new beer content for probably a couple months. Because even if probably not till like mid to late February. Because I'm going to have to get an empty tap and then get the beer on keg.
So maybe you'll get some new Dono songs.
Maybe.
Maybe you'll get a round table about hop water.
You'll get a maybe an update on the sober month.
Have
sober
you ever just taken the GoPro out and done like a time lapse of your bike rides?
I don't have a GoPro, but no, I have not. Maybe we could do a winter biking one if we ever get winter.
That's true.
I just did 19 miles today, but it's all pavement, baby, pavement. Anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you later.
2023!